Okay, so we've got some of the special edition Spider-Man ones that have been released. I'm not sure why they're a special edition, or I think they're from specialty retailers in America. I've got all these through Pop Culture here in Australia. So we have Spider-Man Bombastic Bagman, we have Scarlet Spider Kane Parker, and we have Miles Morales, who is partially sort of fading out. So he's using his sort of camouflage powers. So let's open these up and have a quick look at them. Okay, so here we have Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and he's in mid sort of mirage or camouflage. So you can see that his hand is translucent and his feet are translucent, and it goes up into his waist. You can see through a little bit of his legs, and then he's just in normal pose. So he is on a flight stand that plugs into his back. But he looks really good. He's got the webbing is actually sort of part of the mold. The eye and the paint looks really good. He's got the sort of the more Into the Spider-Verse version of his logo, the sort of more hand painted graffiti style. But yeah, he looks really good in that sort of pose. And then we've also got Kane Parker. So this is obviously from the Scarlet Spider from recent runs. So Kane was one of the clones that was all disfigured and used to leave a mark on people, the whole clone saga, if anyone would know it. But he then got a sort of a new lease on life, and he has the stingers that come out of his wrists. He's a more sort of savage Spider-Man, and he was based, I think, in Texas in his run. So that's him in mid-flight. I really like this because it's got the webbing going around the back and wrapped up in his hands. He's in flight pose again in his back. He's got both feet up. All the paintwork on this is really crisp, and yeah, just a really good figure. So that is Kane. And the final one, and probably my favourite, is the Bombastic Bagman. And obviously, for those who are Marvel fans, this is from when Spider-Man lost his costume and needed to borrow something from the Fantastic Four, and this was given to him as a joke to hide his secret identity by the Human Torch. There was also, I think, a Kick Me little sticker on his back, which is not on this, but we have Spider-Man in the Fantastic Four, crouched down in the Fantastic Four suit with his bare feet so he could still stick to the walls, and he's wearing a brown paper bag over his head with two eye holes cut in it. And the bag looks amazing. It's got the details there, it's got the little bends on the side, it's big enough to cover an actual Funko head, and you can actually see the skin in and around it, and of course it's a bobblehead, but it does look amazing. And I'm like a big fan of sort of obscure characters like this, so I think Bombastic Bagman is certainly one of my favourites. If you've ever seen my builds for brickheads, I've done Bombastic Bagman as one of my Spider-Man brickheads. The next three Marvel Special Edition Spider-Man ones are the Octo Spidey, Spider-Man from the Future Foundation when he was part of the Fantastic Four, and Sandman. Again, these are special editions. I think they were limited to where they were available in America. Here in Australia, I've got all of these through Pop Culture online. So let's open them up and have a look. We have Flint Marko, the Sandman, and I can just say, like, there is a texture on here on the sand, and I don't know if it'll pick it up on the camera, but it just feels rough and sand-like. It's amazing, and again, classic sort of pose with the oversized fist, the sand coming up into the legs, and then the sand mace. He also has obviously the classic striped shirt. I'll just see if I can get some light on that, and he has the Norman Osborn-esque hairstyle, which was one of the things that he and Norman sort of shared. But yeah, this figure looks amazing, and there's even, in addition to the texture, there is also little just paintwork of little brown sort of overwash on the sand, which gives it that little gritty sort of effect. So yeah, again, nothing wrong with the paint on this one. He is an amazing figure, and again bobblehead because it's Marvel. Next up, this one, well, a relatively basic figure, but I think they have knocked it out of the park. The white is all crisp, the black printing is good, so he's got like printing around the eyes and then a mold around the eyes as well. It's the printing on the chest of the spider is perfect. There's no sort of bleed or anything like that. You've got the pattern down the side of each leg. You've got the patterns on the bottom of the hand. Even the bottom of the hand is painted black. It's really well done. He's in a sort of an actiony sort of pose. And then, yeah, you've got again bobblehead. But you can't, I mean, it's a fairly basic design, but the paintwork is pretty spot on. And it does match up, like even the stuff on the shoulders sort of matches in with the chest, which is really impressive on that white figure. And then finally we have Octo Spidey. So Octo Spidey here is on one of those little flight stands that plugs into his butt. He's sort of up in the air mid-flight. He's got the four arms of Doc Ock and also going up into the helmet. Now I'm not sure, I'm trying to think of what series, I don't know, I haven't read my comics recently, I've got 2 years worth to catch up on, but I'm just wondering whether this is, it's reminiscent of back when there was the whole virtual Spider-Man and Doc Ock disappeared and all sorts of things. I don't know if it's related to that or if it's related to the Superior Spider-Man when Doc Ock took over Spidey's body. But I get a vibe of it's a VR sort of thing. We've got the clear sort of yellow trans glasses over the top of Spider-Man. So I imagine that the Spider-Man or Doc Ock is using this device to control the arms. But again, I'll have to check the fact checked, and I'll put something down the bottom to say exactly what the first appearance was of Octo Spidey. So those figures again, nothing wrong with the paint on them, really top quality figures. So let's have a look at the last few. Okay, to round off the Marvel, we've got a couple of the Marvel 80 Years figures. So we've got Namor, the Submariner, and the original Human Torch. Again, I got these both on Pop Culture, so let's open them up and have a look. Okay, so here is the original Human Torch and Namor out of the box. I do like the boxes. They've got like an embossed silver running around the outside. They've got the original or first appearance comics on the back. They've got the 80 Years logo, and there is a silver backer behind the figures in the actual box, which is quite shiny. So, so let's have a look at the original Human Torch. So this is obviously the robotic Human Torch from the old comics, part of the, I guess, Defenders. So if we have a look at him, he's got the base molded around the feet with the flames coming up. He has that classic Kirby line work on the body showing the heat. He has the trans orange, you can see there if we put some light behind it, molded onto the head, and also obviously onto the hands are both on fire. So that is the Torch. He is obviously a bobblehead because it is Marvel, but he looks amazing. The print on the body is great. The detail on the flames is excellent. All trans orange, all the flames around the bottom, and then he's even got fire sort of coming up on his elbow there. But I really like it because it does look like how he used to be drawn in the comics with those lines. Yeah, so that is the Human Torch from Marvel Comics #1. So then we have Namor, the Submariner. And again, this is a spectacular looking figure. The head is just perfect. The hair, the eyebrows. He's got the togs on, the DTs, with the gold trim. There is the little sort of molded print on the actual togs, so you can see the little sort of little shell or scale-like effect. He's holding his trident. He has the wings on both feet, and he's standing there ready to crack on to Sue Storm. He has obviously the pixie ears, the hair's sort of brushed back, yeah, overall, just nothing to complain about on this figure. He just looks amazing. The gold really stands out. The wings on the feet are great. Yeah, I'm really impressed with both of these figures. They really capture the character of the two characters from their first appearance in Marvel Comics. So yeah, I think they've hit it out of the park with this one. Okay, so here are all the figures. So if I was going to rank them, I would probably put Bombastic Bagman as number one. I just like the pose. He's got the classic thwip hand. He's down crouched. He's got the Fantastic Four, and he's got that amazing brown paper bag on his head. A very close second would be Flint Marko, the Sandman, because the detail and the texture on those hands and legs is amazing, and the paint job on the rest of the body is great. He just is so reminiscent of the classic character. And then saying that, I think the original Human Torch and Namor would be probably next in line, again, because they are just spot-on renditions of the characters. And then I would have to probably say Miles would be my next favourite. Kane, just because I didn't mind the actual Kane story, and I'm a fan of all the old Clone Wars. Octo Spidey would probably be next, and then final would be Future Foundation. But let's just say that Future Foundation is just probably last because it's the sort of the most plain design of the lot, but all of them are really sort of well done. The paint, there is nothing to complain about. The figures are perfect. So I'll be putting all of these back in the box and putting them on the Marvel wall.